Right up and get lost in the Funhouse with Gregbo and Blondie.
Hey everybody, welcome to Lost in the Funhouse with Gregbo and Blondie.
And a scarecrow.
And a scarecrow, and this is our inaugural podcast. Can you believe it? We've been talking about, for a couple of years now, talking about doing this podcast, put a podcast together, torn around with the idea, and got together with our good friend Neely Griffin, aka the Scarecrow, and we decided to come over here to the hill and officially
the studio
start
on the hill.
The studio on the hill. And, that's Blondie for all y'all who are wondering, always correcting me. So,
yeah. Hi.
But I need it, so we're good.
We know.
Oh, we do know. Definitely.
We know you need it.
Definitely.
So I've got to tell you about where we are. This studio is awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
This is the studio of Antler Hill, on the hill, whatever you want to call it. But this is great. We've got Nightmare Before Christmas pictures.
Boogie Boogie.
I mean, it's just dark. We've got a light in here that's changing colors. I think we've got a cat outside the door probably scratching. It's just awesome.
Trying to get misty.
Yeah.
No, seriously, guys. I mean, if you guys could see this, I mean, it's like a gothic paradise in here, which anybody who knows me knows I'm in love with.
You have no idea how much that warms my heart that you say that.
No, seriously. I mean,
I'm being serious too.
I love
gothic
that stuff.
Paradise is exactly what I'm going for.
Okay.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, buddy. You should be an interior designer for like a mortuary or something because this rocks.
I would love to do that.
Dream job.
Yes.
And you should see Gregbo over here. He's nice and comfy. Yeah. But he said no pictures, please.
Lies. All lies. Propaganda.
All right, guys. This podcast is going to be about all of our travels, all of the crazy people that we run into.
Many.
Yeah. I mean, between the wrestling background, the art, cosplay that I do, and all the crazy people that I run into at the cons, and Gregbo too. And then we're going to talk about, Antler Hill and Neil, his music. We've got so much to talk
Carolina
about.
folklore, supernatural events, all kind of cool stuff that really interests us because, one of the goals of this podcast is everybody gets to see us at the cons and at the comic book store signings and what have you, and when Neil's out playing a gig, but nobody really gets a behind the scene peek and really knows what goes into, getting ready and our adventures traveling back and forth to the cons. And one of the first things that I think gave us an idea for a podcast was, well, on these long drives we take back and forth to the cons, we listen to podcasts all the time. And, me and Misty, we take turns. We'll listen back and forth to, podcasts about true crime, about hauntings and ghost stories, and wrestling podcasts with my family's history going way back in wrestling and whatnot. And currently.
Right.
Y'all just going to leave me talking like with the dead air, like of a tomb of a crypt?
For me, I grew up with a moderate to severe stutter, and I couldn't even say my own name most of the time. So, and it's like talking is our biggest form of communication. So you take that away, especially growing up. It's like, how do you communicate?
Right.
And how do you live? Well, because it's so much of our life is talking to one another.
Well, that's true. But it really amazes me for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to listen to Neil and some of the music that he puts out. It's just flat out amazing. And to hear his music, you would never know that he grew up, facing that adversity, which is really cool.
Yeah, in composing the music also. We've got to go ahead and plug that he did do our intro music. So
all right. Okay.
It is most excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's not often I get to do something that wacky.
Well, you guys don't realize we had the intro, this cool intro you guys just heard. We had that about a year ago. I called Neil. At least, yeah. I called Neil. Well, Blondie and I had kind of been throwing around the concept of Lost in the Funhouse for a while, and I'll kind of get in a minute where the name comes from because it goes way back. But I was sitting there talking to her, and I said, who better to ask than our buddy Neil? So I called Neil up, and I just kind of told him what we were going to be talking about, and said, "Man, you're the guy for the job, man, the man with a plan, so to speak." And literally by like the next day, I think he sent this to me, and it was like done, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding!" I mean, because for me, I mean, I'm notorious with deadlines and stuff, but I was like, "Holy cow!" And this thing, he just hit it out of the park. I mean, so we're real thankful to have that wonderful intro music.
I'm happy to do it.
Well, I was mentioning about Lost in the Funhouse and where it came from. I mean, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people asking that question. Everybody says our whole life's a fun house because we're traveling around to cons. My son's
it's like a traveling circus.
Yeah, it is. Really, it's like a carnival type community. And it's like, Misty's a cosplayer, Neil's a musician, I'm a comic artist and illustrator, my son's a pro wrestler. I mean, you can't be more varied and wild. And it's like constantly living in a fun house. And you guys just really wouldn't believe some of the strange things that happen. And it's just a little bit of craziness. But
that's what this podcast is all about. We're going to share some of those things.
Yes, right. Absolutely. Kind of give a peek behind the curtain, so to speak. And, years upon years ago, when I created my website, Gregbo.com, I used to have a blog, a written blog on the website, and it was called Lost in the Funhouse.
Really?
Oh yeah, because it's like going back to the 90s, I believe. Wow. And so we've had that name quite a long time. I'm just so happy to have you guys on here sharing it with me now.
Yeah, man.
And sharing the journey.
Yeah. Oh, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. I actually met Gregbo at a tiny con at a library.
Incredibly tiny.
Yeah, and I was...
It's so tiny we couldn't help but meet.
It was very tiny. Yeah, and I was going through some dark things, and I almost didn't walk in. I was sitting in the car, and I'm like...
Amazing.
I don't want to do this.
Oh, that's wild.
Like, I got dressed up, and I drove there, and I'm like, I need to get out of my head. Yeah. I was really low. And I'm sitting in the car, I'm like, you're going to go in there, and like, it's going to be over or something, and you're going to be the only one dressed up or whatever, and it's just, you're going to make a fool of yourself. Don't even.
And see, and you come walking in, and I went like bonkers. I mean, you guys don't understand. I mean, I'm sitting there like, oh man, that is so cool. And, Blondie was commenting on it. And then you came over to the table. Was Brett with us?
Yeah.
Brett's my son, Brett the Crippler Watson.
He was watching from the rafters.
Oh, yes, that's right. He was watching. He was my bodyguard. Yeah. When we go to cons, he's my bodyguard. But he's like the world's most qualified bodyguard, but yet the world's worst bodyguard because he's never where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting thing. We've got you'll hear us constantly talking about Brett. I got some real funny stories from cons and him and Misty going at it and getting into it with each other, and it's some funny stuff. But yeah, you came in and you stayed there, and we just sat there and talked through the whole con because God, there was nothing else to do, right?
Right. I was going through your art, and I'm like, I need this art on something of mine. Like, I need him to do something for me. Like, I love this style.
Oh, thank you.
But it almost didn't happen.
I know.
It almost didn't happen.
Isn't that amazing coincidences and stuff that happens in this life?
Right. You never know.
Because you were dressed up as Harley Quinn. From the Arkham game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That was one of my very first cosplays, I think.
Really?
Of course, Harley was my first cosplay, and then I think that one was my first kind of professional-made costume.
Wasn't your first cosplay at that church trunk or treat we all did?
Yeah.
Technically?
Yep. That was a Halloween store-bought Harley costume, and that was my very
Look how far you've
first
come.
one. I
Right.
know.
But listen, that was one of the very
was
few
that?
times she ever convinced me to cosplay.
Yes.
Because
Is that
it
when
was-
you did the Joker?
Yes, it was for the
Joker.
kids.
Yeah.
She
I'm
made this
sure you can find these
huge-
pictures somewhere.
There's a picture somewhere. We may have to put it up on the. Let's
Yeah,
put
we'll
it
have
up.
we'll have to get that
Scarecrow.
up.
Let's put it up on the website. But
Can do.
what we did was Misty made this beautiful arching piece that looks like the top piece that says Arkham Asylum, even with the one letter that's kind of falling off, kind of cattywampus. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
word, cattywampus. And
Spell it.
I'm a word maker upper, not a
Wampus.
spelling bee champion. So I can draw it. How about that? So it just looked gorgeous. And the three of us went, me, you, and Brett, and we're giving out candy. You dressed as Harley. I dressed as the Joker, good old Mr. J. And Brett was the Mad Hatter.
Yep.
You remember?
Yep.
That was good times. And there
Totally
we
would
were.
have come and did the Scarecrow.
See, that would have been
Totally would've
awesome.
done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. If we'd
Yeah,
only
see, that
known
would've
you
been
back
great.
then.
That would have been great. And I know I was sitting there singing in the Joker's voice, the Christmas Carol, Joker got away kind of a thing, and everybody from the church was looking at me like I was a madman.
Yeah.
They weren't wrong.
But it seems like all of my costumes, even if I'm accurate to the character, sometimes I'm called something different because for some reason the little kids thought I was a ladybug.
Really?
So
They did. Oh, I got to tell you this story talking about the cosplay and people think. So
Oh, no.
we all love Nightmare Before Christmas, right? And when I say this,
A
you
bit.
guys, yeah,
A little bit.
Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but you guys got to understand. We just got back from RobCon, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But when we were at RobCon, she did this amazing take on Sally.
Yes.
Right? That's
Yes.
something else we need to put the pictures up.
Yeah.
We'll put the picture there. Get
Yeah.
on that Scarecrow.
Yeah, I'm on it.
and then but her first Sally costume was more accurate to the one in
again,
Nightmare
it
Before
was just
Christmas.
a store bought costume.
It was store bought, and she was kind of getting her cosplay wings, so to speak. And she shows up over there at mine and Brett's house, and we were just kind of okay. It was a pretty good costume. It was okay. And so the doorbell rang, and there's these 4 or 5 little girls,
Yeah.
and they start screaming bloody murder, and we don't have no idea what's going on. Then we figured out they thought she was Chucky.
Really?
Swear to goodness. I mean, these kids, there's kids scattering all over the front lawn on Halloween night,
Right?
hollering Chucky's going to get me. I don't even think they got their candy.
Wow.
I don't. I was stunned.
I was not. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
one for the ages, one for the record books.
Yes. You and Brett were very amused.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Me and Brett also got out in the front yard with the Force Effects lightsabers when it got dark.
Of course.
And we were like beating each other up in the front yard with lightsabers. It was great.
But
Good
hey, and speaking of Halloween, that's nowhere near what our Halloweens have grown to now.
Oh, that's the truth.
Yes.
Our Halloweens are epic.
Oh, yes. We've got crowds of people standing in the street watching fire breathers and
Right?
live
Yeah.
concerts
I've
and
never seen that many people
cartoons.
in a subdivision. And I grew up where
Yeah.
we didn't really have that sort of thing. And just to see it, it's like the movie, it's like everybody gets out, everyone's having a good time. It's like this is where I wanted to grow up.
I was very lucky. We had a lot of trick or treaters when I was a kid in my neighborhood.
I hate you.
But yeah, I get that a lot. But anyway,
Mostly from me.
Yes, yes, true. He's the president of the hate club. So, he'll probably be sending you guys membership cards pretty
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's already over filling them out.
They're in the
but
mail.
When I was a kid, we had a good neighborhood for Halloween and trick or treat and whatnot, but nothing like this. I mean, guys, this is on an epic scale. We're broadcasting stuff off the side of the house. Misty's in full cosplay. Neil and Jess are out there singing and playing the electric guitar, banjo / scarecrow instrument and just killing it. Then you got Brett and Mickey May, my daughter-in-law, and they're out there dressed as like tribal people, and they're like eating fire, swallowing fire, breathing fire, spinning a fire baton. I mean, we pull out all the stops, I'd say. And of course, I'm just walking around like a lump because Halloween is like my like resting day where I can just sit, and it's like the one day a year I like just sit and take in the ambiance and enjoy things. But
It's a holiday. I
It's a
always have to
holiday.
take that day off work.
I always have. I used to have it written into my contract wherever I would do something that I was off on Halloween.
It's a good idea.
Literally, and I honestly one time it made the papers. I had written into my contract to be off, and at the time the people that I've been in comics since the '90s, but when Brett was first born in '98, I had to get out for a few years, because I wanted to stay at home with him and
Right.
stuff. So I was creative director for a company in Greenville, South Carolina, and as the creative director, I put in my contract that I had to be off if ever any new Star Wars movies were released. Well, at the time, nobody thought any new Star Wars movies were going to be released, but they were.
And who was off?
And so the newspaper came by. And so the people at the ad agency, where I was the creative director, thought they were coming to do a big story on them. So they were sitting there telling me, when they interview you, you've got to stand in front of the logo and all that kind of stuff, and so they were getting everything set up just right. Oh, they were so mad when they realized they came out there because they did a whole story, and you know what the title of the story was called? Wookie Hookie. Where people were playing, there was a name for it, Wookie Hookie. If you were off for to go see the new Star Wars,
Right.
Oh, they were so mad. But it was cool.
People even say hooky anymore? Is that even a
Well, if you're old like I am,
term
then
that's used anymore? Yeah.
I don't know what they say now.
no, who knows? Who knows? The schools are so crazy nowadays.
I have a question for you. What got you into cosplay?
He's talking to Blondie for those who can't see the audio
it's like-
podcast.
Yeah. I guess I should
Pointing.
preface. I am pointing to Blondie over here.
Yeah.
And I am about to ask a very, very mediocre question.
Okay. Cosplay.
Why cosplay? Like, what is it to you?
Well,
Like,
I've always
why do
liked-
you do it?
I mean, I've always liked dressing up for Halloween.
Yeah.
And, of course, when I first met Gregbo and Brett, and of course we dressed up for the Halloween thing at the church, the trunk or treat.
Which our first meeting is a great story that must be told in a minute.
Oh,
But go
yes,
ahead.
we'll have to get to that in just a minute because that involves cosplay too. Just not mine.
Yeah.
But,
That's a tale of great woe.
I'm intrigued.
yes, yeah.
Continue.
But, so then I think after that, we're dressing up for Halloween and the trunk or treat, and then he decided to take me to my first Comic-Con because I was like, what is this you're talking about? And I'm like, this sounds really cool. So he takes me to Dragon Con. Yes.
Wow.
Dragon Con. My
That's where I
first
introduced her,
con.
baptism by fire.
That sounds exactly like something you would do.
I'm one of those, like when I taught Brett to swim, I just held him over a raging river, threw him in and said,
Good luck, kid.
yeah, pretty much.
But of course, that first year we went, I didn't dress up because I really didn't know what to expect. And we got there. Here's all these people in costumes. It was awesome. People taking pictures, and I mean, the celebrities and artists. And I was just like, oh my God, I have found my people, And I was like, I want to do this.
That's awesome.
And after that, when Gregbo got back into doing the art and the comics and started doing the con circuits, so I was going with him to the conventions, and I mean, I was going to be there. And
She runs it all. I just show up.
Yeah, I mean, be there at the table, and I was like, I want to participate in this, so I started dressing up, and at first it was probably store-bought costumes, and I mean, we're talking about this was like 8 years ago, I guess, that
Yeah, wow.
we've been doing this. I started out, and then eventually started modifying costumes, started making props. Then I actually got my sewing machine out of that hiding place that it was in because I was just terrified of it.
She was.
And,
Really?
Yeah, big
Terrified
time.
of a sewing machine. You.
Yeah, nightmares
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, me and it had some, a couple of battles, so wasn't pretty. So I kind of hid it, hid it somewhere so it could
Hid
be
it in
found.
shame.
Yes, but I decided,
That's the
I'm
truth.
going to get this thing out and I'm going to figure out how to do this. And then I
Look at her
started,
now.
Right?
yeah, then I started actually making costumes and props, and so
And
it's
you know,
fun.
there to me as a professional artist, um, you know, we talk about that a lot because back in the '90s when I was doing Comic Cons and stuff, I mean, Comic Cons weren't anything like you see nowadays.
Right.
I mean, basically, I would go and me and a buddy of mine, and we had a table, and believe it or not, I know this. Oh gosh, this is so hard to believe, but we didn't have a table cover or anything. It's just a wooden folding table. We took our sketchbook, a pen, a pencil, and an eraser, and then we would take out the first page, fold it over like a table tent, and write our sketch prices on it. There were no prints, there were no books, there was nothing else, and we'd just sit there like knots on the log, and take sketches and do sketches. But I've been at this so long, but back then there wasn't a lot of cosplay. You'd see the odd person come in with Vulcan ears or something, maybe. But or you'd see the Adam West Batman
Yeah.
going around,
Yeah.
somebody that's like 5 times too big for the costume. And so what ended up happening is over the years it developed into this like massive pop culture phenomenon that you see today, and so many cons sprung up. But when I look at it, I look at cosplay like this. Most of the cosplay I see, it takes so much creativity.
It really does.
Yeah, I mean,
It really
it's
does.
it's artistic in its own right. And I often hear when people come at my table, they're like, "Oh, I couldn't draw a straight line." I always tell them, "Me either," if I didn't have a ruler. But they say, "Oh, you're so talented. Oh, I wish I had some kind of creative talent." I firmly believe that everybody has some kind of creative talent.
Absolutely.
And it's just you don't know whether it's going to be like visual art or music or
Right.
fashion design or anything. I mean, if you're an expert at fixing a lawnmower and you know how to get this thing to work and nobody else can get it to work, trust me, I find you an artist because I know I couldn't do it.
Everybody has something
Yeah.
that they're good at.
Absolutely. So you want to tell the story, speaking of cosplay and stuff, how you and I met?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
So, how did you guys meet?
yeah. Let's
It was a
talk.
dark and stormy night, much like tonight. No, go ahead.
But no, let's see. We met. It's been about 9 years. How long has it been?
Don't hurt
9 and a
yourself.
half years. I know. That's
I'm really hurt that she does not know exactly how long we've been together. And
that's.
I can tell.
Nah.
I see a tear forming.
well,
I know,
the reason the
but-
tears forming is surprise. It's our anniversary today, and you forgot.
Oh no, it's not. I would know that.
Hey, I was hoping I could pull that off.
Try again.
Yeah.
But no, we met at a child's birthday party.
Mutual
Now
friend
I
of
know
ours,
that sounds a little creepy.
No,
we didn't.
Not at all.
We didn't randomly just stumble into a child's birthday party.
I knew the girl from high school, his mom from high school, and Misty was there just hanging out.
Yeah,
'Cause that was just her thing.
Like she does at child's birthday parties. Hey, they had popcorn
No, we had
and
a
roller skates.
Yeah, a mutual
times.
friend.
Fun
And,
times.
I worked with her, and she went to school and grew up with Gregbo, and
One of
her
my closest friends
yeah.
growing up.
she had her son was having a birthday party, and it was going to be a Star Wars theme, and she asked me if I would come over and help, I guess, wrangle the kids or help her with the party. And I was like, sure. I didn't have anything else to do, so I came to the party.
You sound like you were so enthused.
I know. I'm like, sure, yeah. So I came to the party, and so since it was Star Wars themed, she had invited Gregbo to come because he had a lot of Star Wars
Memorabilia,
memorabilia,
collectibles.
yeah, and also a Darth Vader helmet,
Yes, I had a Darth Vader helmet
and,
a
and
Force
gloves.
effect and gloves and Force Effects lightsaber, the one that lights up, the Darth Vader one that's
Yeah.
really nice,
So that part of the
And
costume
so-
was good.
was incredible. And I got to tell you this much: when she called me and asked me about coming and bringing some of this stuff down, I asked her. I said, "Well, what kind of costume is it?" And I said, oh, well, we rented it. Oh, well, we've got it. Oh, it's great. It's great." So I'm thinking, because I'm used to Comic Cons and things like that. So I'm
Right.
thinking, oh my gosh, she's got like some kind of, like went out to the costume shop, got one of those
Right. The
really
top-notch
nice
ones.
with, the
Yeah.
light up chest piece and all that kind of stuff. So I said, sure, I'll do it. No problem. We get down there, that was not it.
Really?
Yes, I used basically it was
It was a bib with a cape.
It was a bib. With a cape.
Seriously?
Yes, this is another picture, Scarecrow, that's going to go up on the website of the night we met.
I'm on it.
And so it didn't even cover my arm. So the gloves came up to about the middle of my forearm. And I was wearing a short sleeve shirt. So, you can see a lot of the skin between.
I vaguely recall seeing this picture.
Yes.
And jeans.
And I'm wearing jeans. And we just throw like a black bedspread over me, like for a cape, And I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And so I was calling myself, Bubba Vader, the redneck Sith.
I think I called you that.
Well, she called me that. I'll give her credit there for that. But I was Bubba Vader, the redneck Sith.
Is that how he's listed in your phone?
Yes.
Well, speaking of my personal bodyguard, Ace, Brett the Crippler Watson.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, Brett. So we were all in there. It was me and Blondie and Brett. And so we're sitting in there, and I looked at Brett, and I said, Brett, because I knew like at Disney, when all the characters go out around the kids, they have to have a handler.
Right.
To keep the kids from getting too obnoxious or whatever, So I'm sitting there, and I said, Brett, you're going to be my handler. I got this, Dad. I got this. I said, okay. I said, because somebody had the bright idea to give all these kids those little plastic extendable lightsabers outside. So basically, I became a walking piñata. Now, what makes it worse is the kid's birthday's in January, right? Mm-hmm. So as I come walking out, the second I took 2 steps out of the front door, all I saw was a bunch of kids looking at me menacingly with these lightsabers, and the lenses in the Darth Vader helmet fogged up.
Oh, no.
So I could see nothing. So I leaned into Brett and said, Brett, you're going to really have to watch me because I can't see anything. I got this, Dad. I got this. So we're out there and everything. And I actually heard Brett. Okay, y'all need to back up a little bit. So as we turn around and we're walking in, Blondie's got one arm, walking me in. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking Brett's back there keeping the kids off. Well, all of a sudden I felt something go upside my head, then my back, and it was one of those plastic lightsabers. And I'm like, Brett! And then I look over at Blondie. I said, where is Brett? And Blondie goes, that is Brett. Brett had got one of the lightsabers and was walking along behind me, swinging it like a ball bat.
Yeah.
Like I was a piñata filled with candy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we met.
Yes. Such a charming story.
Yeah. So
Bubba Vader. So it was actually him that started the cosplay first.
Yes.
It was so bad. You're like, I got to step up and help you with this.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Sith, going to cons and getting her started. Oh, I'm telling.
We're not telling that story.
No, we are telling it. Okay.
I've got to know now.
Misty now.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I still stand behind my answer.
Okay, you've got a little bit of grounds there, but okay, for anybody who's been one of these big cons, like a Dragon Con, you're all familiar with panels. And how long ago this was? It was right after the first season of Walking Dead had wrapped. So they were having a panel, and this is back when all the characters on Walking Dead and everything, they still weren't as famous like they are now.
And for those who don't know, a panel is sort of like a live podcast in a sense.
And usually what they'll do is
a Q&A or something maybe.
Right. Well, they'll start talking, and this is what happened. They were talking about all the cast members of Walking Dead were talking about their experiences filming The Walking Dead, as one might expect. Well, there's a huge auditorium, and there's 2 aisles, and on either aisle is a stand-up microphone. So when they take questions, people would get up and line up.
Right.
Okay? So this is Misty's first con, and she's just getting used to, because she knew a lot about comics and stuff before going. I mean, a pretty good amount, more than most, but she was still learning.
Right.
So here's me. I'm on one side. Blondie's in the middle. Brett's on the other side of Blondie. Right? She's in between us.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, this guy gets dressed up in a Darth Maul outfit, walks up to the mic, starts asking a question. Misty gets all excited. She keeps hitting me on my leg, and real loud she goes, look, it's Dark Sith.
I was not wrong.
In the middle of a Comic-Con with Star Wars. You can get killed for less at a Comic-Con for that.
You really can.
He is dark, and he is a Sith.
Yes, but you were like Dark Sith, like that was the name of the character. Like, Dark Sith, bring me my ship. I mean, it was craziness. So Brett and I were acting like we didn't know her. Oh, it was so funny. Oh, it's so funny. That was her first panel that she got to witness at a Comic-Con.
I still stand behind that response.
That's
I
good.
was
That's
not
good.
wrong.
Way to
I'll
stand
give-
your ground.
I'll
was
give you,
not wrong.
since we're in the Star Wars realm, I'll give you an Obi-Wan on that. What you said is true. From a certain point of view.
Very small point of view.
A very narrow.
Narrow. That's even better. A very narrow. You know.
But I recognized somebody. I was so excited.
She was too. Oh, she thought she had just. She just thought, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get me some street cred here.
Right.
Yeah, your street cred got blasted.
Look what I know. Boom.
Exactly. Look what she knew.
Yeah. Ouch.
But we do want to talk about the last two conventions we've just been to
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, absolutely. We okay, a couple weeks ago, what, 3 weeks ago, we did Heroes.
Yeah,
that- About 3 weeks ago.
yeah.
Now I've been going to Heroes since, and that was one of the first cons I took you to, just to go up there and see it because it's such a great con.
And it has grown so much since the first time that I went.
Well, honestly, it was this big, well, close to this big back in the '90s when I went, when comics were kind of like hit a peak in the '90s. But when you went, it dipped a good bit because it was before the resurgence, I think. But you're right. From the time you went till now, in your eyes, yeah, it would have grown tremendously. So we had a good time going back then. But this one we did most recently, Heroes Con 2019, and special shout out and thanks to Shelton and Carla and everybody on the team that got us in out there. And as always, I mean, you guys put on one heck of a con. I mean, it is the 800-pound gorilla in terms of cons here in the Carolinas, or up and down the East Coast. It's just such a wonderful con. I mean, I can't even. I wish I knew the count of how many people were there, but
Oh my goodness,
it was just unbelievable, and we were busy. There was one point you had to usher me away from my booth because there were so many people. You remember? Because I was having to go to lunch with Brian.
Yeah, and we were having a hard time getting you up because I mean, God love the fans, but gotta eat.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Brian is a good friend of mine, and he's the guy who runs PowerCon and has Power Comics down in Conway, South Carolina, and he runs Power Comic Con in Florence, South Carolina, and it's become a tradition that we go to eat lunch with him at the little pizza joint Fuel across the road from Heroes, and he kept calling me on the phone and saying, hey, you ready to meet me? And every time I would start to stand up, a line of about 10, 15 more people would show up. And then finally there were some people off walking towards me from across the thing, and some people had just left. And Blondie almost picked me up with Herculean strength of a sumo wrestler and throws me past my banner.
yes, for anybody who's trying to picture that.
Yeah, right.
Not true, but seriously, she kept poking me, saying, "Oh, you got to go," and it was just crazy. And
But
then
on that note, can we talk about when you did get away from the table? And
I was
trying
about
to
to go
get
there. Yeah,
Yeah, I was trying to get you back to the table because there's someone standing at the table talking about a commission. There's people wanting to buy prints, and of course they want your signature, autograph on them. And so I'm calling you, and hey, you got to come back to your table.
Okay.
You got to come back to your table.
Let me set up what had happened. Like I said, now one time I did get lost. You remember that was funny?
Oh, yeah.
And I walked right past
Yeah.
the table, and
Yes.
you were hollering at me, and
That's happened.
It's
I
not
didn't
hard to
acknowledge
do, though.
that.
It's huge
It's really
in there.
not. It's huge. Thank you. See, and so I went to walk to the other side because
Put a bell
Zenescope.
on him.
Yeah, I do. I need a bell. So I'm on the other side of the con, and this con's huge. And I'd gone over there to the Zenescope booth and to talk to some dealers I knew that I'd just been at a con of theirs. And I was walking back, and as I would walk across, people would recognize me, come up and talk to me, and I would sit there and talk. And Misty had already texted me 3 times.
Yeah, and each time he's texting back, I'm on my way.
I was.
I'm on my way.
Technically.
In
I
a
was on my
circle.
way. Yeah, I was kind of on my way. I mean, 2 steps at a time, and then 10 minutes of talking, and then.
Yes.
But no, seriously, I mean, I was on my way, but I kept getting stopped. But then here's what's funny.
So finally, I get a text message with a picture. Some of you may have seen this on Facebook.
We'll post this up too.
Yes.
Scarecrow.
All right.
It was him. My favorite Disney character is Stitch. There's someone in a full-size Stitch costume.
Like
I
full
mean,
size, like
like
actual
full-size,
Stitch?
like, no.
Or
Oh,
full
it
Stitch
looked,
human-
it
human
looked like
size.
it looked like a Disney character, like in the parks.
Yes.
Okay.
So he takes a picture with it, got the little thumbs up with the smirk on his face, and he sends this picture to me. And what did you get back?
I got that, that little angry emoji that's red, but then it has all the little cuss words
Yeah.
like over the mouth.
Yeah.
The little expletives.
The bar with the
Yeah,
yeah.
I had plenty of those. I think she added a few. Because I mean, she was like sitting there
Get back to
holding
your
back.
table.
Right.
She was like sitting there holding back. All these people. Like, I swear he'll be back in a minute.
I know.
He's going to be here any minute. And Misty's trying to make small talk.
I'm making small talk, trying to keep him at the table. I'm like, don't leave. He's coming back. And then at the same time, I'm like looking down. I'm like, please come back.
Oh yeah. It was a thing of beauty.
He's not here yet, but I do have him with Stitch.
Yes.
If this one
Yes.
tied you over until he can find the table again.
You should have done it. You should have done it in your Stitch voice, where you said, "I'm lost."
Poor thing.
That was pretty wild.
But then we had RobCon this
Yes.
past weekend.
Yeah, and
Absolutely beautiful location.
gorgeous.
And that's where?
It's
Kingsport,
in Kingsport.
Kingsport, Tennessee.
It was at Meadowview Conference Center.
Yeah, beautiful place. Well, let me tell you this. Here's the thing of it. A lot of the cons moved to June this year. Okay,
Really?
a lot of the cons moved to June, and usually that's a huge no-no because of the fact that Heroes is so big, so well known. Has such a. I mean, every year Father's Day weekend in June, you can expect Heroes, and everybody goes to Heroes. Okay. So I'm telling Misty, I'm like, man, I don't know if this is such a good idea because, everybody's going to the 2 weeks before, everybody's kind of saving up to go to Heroes.
Right.
Right. And then the 2 weeks after Hero, everybody's spent and kind of
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah,
All right. So
right.
I'm like, I don't know, it's a 3-hour drive up. And, but I love doing RobCon. Robert Pilk, who runs it, and Diana Simpson. They're such nice people, and the whole crew up there. So I'm like, yeah, okay, it's in June, but worst case scenario, we'll get up there and get to spend some time with good friends and beautiful location. It was off the charts. Let me tell you,
Nice.
it was like a mini Hero. There were so many people coming up to the table. We were slammed once again. Thanks to everybody who listen. I want to tell you guys, thanks to any of my fans that are listening, because we really do have such a good time when you guys come up to the table and talk to us. And a lot of times, that's our main way of keeping in touch and being able to see. And we love from con to con getting to see what's going on in your lives as well. And we just had it was just such a wonderful time. I mean,
yeah.
And the
It
bird,
was like
the bird
incident.
incident.
Yeah, we got to
Tell the story of the bird.
catch a bird, and
Shazam caught a bird.
Shazam caught a bird.
Yes. Shazam caught a bird.
Okay. Do tell.
I do tell, yes. No, Saturday afternoon, it was late in the day, and we're sitting, at the con, and, about to wrap up, and all of a sudden, somehow, a poor little bird got into the convention center, and it's flying around, and it's just kind of lighting on the top of everybody's banners, and just flying around.
Lit
and
on our display there for
Yeah.
a minute with my sketch
Just
covers. Yeah.
looking around, and so we were all trying to kind of shoo it toward the door, which didn't work. It wanted to go the opposite direction. So finally, at the end of the con, of course, we went back to the hotel and just hoped the poor little bird, got out. Well, the next day we come in, and I got there very early, and of course, because Gregbo has to get ready, the
Like he does.
the diva.
Like one has to do.
Yes. So I was, setting
It
up.
shows. It shows. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I was
Maybe it's
getting
Maybelline.
getting the table set up, and
I don't know. I think you're born with it.
But I was getting the table set up, and all of a sudden, here comes this bird. It just flies by again, and I'm like, "Oh no, he's still in here!" And it was a little while later, and I think Gregbo had went walking around.
Imagine that.
Yeah, got away from the table for a little while, probably looking for Stitch again.
One of those leashes for Blondie, like they put on the kids at Disney World.
Yeah. So I'm sitting at the table, and all of a sudden the little bird just comes and flies and goes right behind the table of the people who are on our left-hand side.
I was doing the panel. That's where I was.
I know you were, away from the table, but
I was doing the panel.
Yeah. But it came and it went and it landed right behind the table of the people who were on our left. And so the guy over there, he decides, hey, we need to try to catch it and put it outside.
Right.
And so they go over there and they're chasing it around. They get it cornered. They're trying to catch it. Poor thing is just scared to death. And it slips right out of their hand and it just comes flying straight at me. So I'm like, ah! And so it lands right behind me, and it's kind of cornered in between our banner and our little wagon that we've got. And it just was looking around like it's just terrified. And the guy that was on our left, he's like yelling at me, and he was like, "It won't bite. It won't bite." He's like, "Just catch it." So I'm trying to catch this little thing, and I almost had it. And
Well, it landed on Kevin Sharp.
yes, that was next. Yeah. And it flew out of my hand, and it goes right over to Kevin Sharp, an artist who was on our right-hand side.
Good friend of ours.
And he's drawing and kind of looking down, and it just lands right on his arm. And he's kind of startled at first, and then he just looks over and he's like, "Oh, well, hello." And
Well, I found out later he's got birds at his house. And
yeah,
they land on his shoulder while he draws.
So he is.
So for a little bit, he didn't even realize it was on his shoulder.
So he is really a Disney princess.
He's a Disney princess, yes. He sings and the birds come to him. Misty.
Right.
That's what happens.
Bird whisperer.
So they go and they try to catch it again off of his shoulder, and it flies away again, and it goes right down. And I'm drawing a blank on what the guy's name is, but he played the original Captain Marvel in the
Shazam, yeah.
in Shazam in the television series, and just, I mean, calm as he could be, just reaches down and just catches the bird. So, and then it's like, Shazam,
Right.
save the bird!
Did he say Shazam before he grabbed the bird?
Let me show y'all how it's done here.
Yes.
Shazam!
You know,
I mean, he just caught it and just calmly walked it outside and
excuse
set
me
it in
while
the
I
bush.
solve the problem.
Yes. So,
Talking about cosplay though, I was out again at one of my panels and I was walking by and this guy was out there in his cosplay in the main forum because the panel rooms were like way off the main dealer floor and artist floor and everything. So as I was coming back after finish my panel, I go walking by and I did a double take. And there's this guy who'd made this incredible Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon costume. I'll let Misty describe it in detail, but I mean, this thing was just, because she knows more about Toothless and How to Train Your Dragon than I do, but I recognized the character and I was just blown away. I mean, this thing looked, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I ran back to the table and told Misty, and it was an amazing costume, right?
yeah, it was huge because he had the whole Toothless head was on the front, and then his head and his legs were Toothless's legs, and his head was supposed to be Hiccup, and he had like a little body on the back of Toothless to be kind of like it was his body and and his head kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm
This was
describing that.
incredible. I mean, just genius.
And I mean, it was really good. I mean, it had wings and the big tail and everything. And
Huge.
of course, I think he
Nice.
did win the cosplay contest,
Yeah, I think
which
he
was
didn't
awesome.
win the big prize. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think he did. So I mean, totally deserved it. But
And I mean, that's
was really
high
good.
praise coming from me and Blondie because we see so many costumes because we're at so many cons. It's like, yeah, I mean, we just see them all the time. So
yeah, I'm always kind of a lot of times he'll be, talking with fans, and I'm bad about interrupting because I'll see somebody cool walking by in a costume and I'll start hitting his arm. I'm like, look.
No,
look.
let me tell you where this really annoys me and just gets me totally annoyed. All right?
Do tell us.
Okay, I'm on my soapbox.
Yeah.
You guys
Inquiring
don't see it,
minds
but I'm
want to
actually
know.
climbing up on my soapbox now. I will be sitting there drawing, especially inking. Okay? Now, I'm ADD, and when I'm at a con and the tables are bouncing around and things are going slow, it's real hard for me to concentrate. And I'm sitting there inking these long, sweeping lines, And I think I was doing a Detective Pikachu at the time, wasn't I? Was that what it was? Mm-hmm. And the whole time Misty's like, she'll start to tell me something or show me something. Or every once in a while, she actually wants me to take our table. We do a table selfie at every con pretty much we go to. And all of a sudden, I'll see her start to slide the phone around in front of me. And I'll just turn around and look at her. And I'll be like, what are you doing? I'm sitting here drawing. Or she'll start hitting my arm. Look, a puppy. And I'm like, I don't even look up. Finally, I just don't even look up. I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's great. Yeah. You see that costume? Oh, it's amazing. And I don't even look up, know what it is. And then she'll go, you didn't even look. And I'm like, no, because I'm drawing.
You see what I have to put up with.
Oh, It's maddening. I'm telling you, maddening. I say, the trials and tribulations. But yeah, Heroes and RobCon, were our most recent two cons, and they were both just fantastic. Heroes Con never disappoints. It's such a wonderful show. RobCon, it really grows every year. And just the sheer amount of effort they've put into that over the years, building that up, really, they deserve a pat on the back because that's one of our favorite shows to go to each year. It's really, really nice. That and Heroes. So we had two of our favorite shows back to back. So
yeah,
so that was cool. And where is it? Where is it? I'm scheduled to be at next.
Yeah, the next place you'll be able to catch us is.
Notice I have to ask Blondie.
Yeah, because I keep up with the calendar, or he will double book himself.
I've done it many a time.
Yes. The next place is going to be at the Be a Hero Comic-Con in Lincolnton, North Carolina. That's on July 20th.
I'm going to be there too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Antler Hill will be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Funhouse will be well represented.
Yes.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you get a chance, come out and see us. It's going to be a good con. It's a little smaller, but it's definitely still a good con to come and see.
It's a real fun con. Are you going to be playing?
We are going to be playing. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's what I was just about to say.
Well, see, I beat you to it.
Yeah, you did.
Lines and everything. Mm-hmm. See, I'm a scene stealer.
Mm-hmm. You were born with it.
I'm well known. Right. Well known. See, the international hooligan and whatnot.
Yes.
But seriously, guys, if you get a chance at one of these cons where Neil's playing Antler Hill, definitely go and see them. They play. Oh my gosh, their music is just amazing.
It's all original too.
All original. And little known fact. My son, like I said, my son's a pro wrestler, and him and his tag team, the Legends, Brett the Crippler Watson, Mickey May, Buckshot Carter, and the Legend Chuck Sloan, all together collectively known as the Legends. He wrote their theme song for the Legends as a group, and then wrote my son's individual theme song, The Crippler. And every once in a while, like if I'm at the con and he's at the con, he'll just go into my son's theme song right in the middle of, so it's kind of really, really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, just my little nod to Brett and all the awesome things he's been doing, especially lately.
Yeah, he's amazing. I heard from him today he's got a 13-hour bus ride tomorrow back to Georgia. My son, just in the last couple of days, for those who don't know, he's he's still doing the wrestling, and he is currently an Army airborne combat medic. So I am thrilled. He's coming back to do his jump training. He's officially a combat medic. It's going in stages, combat medic, and he's coming back tomorrow. and he's going to be in Fort Benning, Georgia, doing his 3 weeks of jump training, and then he'll be airborne combat medic.
Yep.
So it's
Awesome.
pretty amazing. And he's a vicious little wrestler.
Yeah, he is.
So
All right. Well, this was a great
First episode.
first episode. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just a few of our
the maiden
stories.
voyage
The maiden voyage.
of our crazy little tent of
boat.
strange stories here.
Don't ask why I did that.
I don't know.
Don't worry.
Yeah, old TV.
No one's asking.
Old TV.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am your faithful engineer, Scarecrow.
Yep. And this is Misty, otherwise known as Blondie.
And this is Gregbo, otherwise known as Gregbo, and the International Hooligan.
Yeah.
Hope everybody has a great day.
And a happy 4th.
Happy
And
4th. Because that's when we are recording this. When you're hearing it, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yes. That's how we work things around here.
Good night.
Hey.
Rock and roll.
Feel free to email us at getlostinthefunhouse@gmail.com.